I love you, Bobby.
Hey, V, line them up.
What's going on, CBR fam? It's been a minute, but we back once again. How y'all
Yes, sir.
feeling?
Another week.
Who
You
came
back.
in early? Who came in early? Yeah, Dimitri. Shout out to Dimitri. He said hashtag free Montini.
Free Montini.
We
What
love
up,
Joe
bro?
Montini over here. You're gonna see
What
Joe
up,
Montini
17,
back soon.
17?
What's
Yeah.
up, cousin Ro? What's
Joe
up, Mike from
Montini, cool people.
1776? Lucid Arboreals was good. What's up, TPC?
Yes, sir.
What's up, Zach Wells? We got Delic already
Delic.
in here. We got cousin Salamander.
Salad,
R.I.P. to
going on?
Ripley. R.I.P. to Ripley. That was a beautiful snake, man. We got
CJ,
cousin
what up?
CJ.
Yeah, hey, rest in peace of Ripley, man.
We got Ryan Gottlieb. Who else we got? We got Mikey Marsh. Lucid
Yeah, Ryan Galley,
Arboreals.
what's going on?
Trey.
Mikey Marsh, what's going on?
Cousin Oso, man. Oso, we miss you, man. You gotta bring your ass back over here again, bro.
Trey, what's going
yeah.
on? Oso, what's going on, dog? Damn, man, we ain't seen Oso in a minute, man.
We
What's
got
going
Chris from
on?
Innerbox, man. Shout out to Chris from
Shout out to the
Innerbox, our
sponsor.
sponsor. Let me
Hey,
get
play
the
the video
banner
real
roll.
quick.
Huh?
Play the video real quick.
Yeah, I was about to say, let's play the video. That was from Chris from Innerbox 3D. Go there and spend some money with them. Get some new things. Everybody needs some new things for their cages, man. So get some new things. What else we got?
Get your cages, man. Get your cages. Get your tubs. Neo, juvenile, whatever you want. Just you want to add some add-ons for your adult cages, man. Just go check in with him, see what he got. He can custom make it for you too. You get him the measurements of your tub, he get in with you. Man, talk to him, man. Hey, use our code too, so you can save some bread.
And if you got questions about things, man, Chris is real responsive. Hit him back. I know he may not be the guy that's always up and in your face, but if you got a question for him or something that you're trying to get done, all you got to do is ask him, and he'll chef you up something real nice. So shout out our man Chris. Shout out to Cold Blooded Cafe, Desiree over there, man.
Shout out to Desiree too. Get in with her. Use our code with them.
Save yourself some munties. What else? What else we got, man? I was tax season, so we know everybody buying snakes. Hey, man, listen, I'm gonna tell y'all this. Listen, we know that it's tax season and everybody want to get their taxes done and then go buy some snakes. Listen, before y'all do this shit, don't come asking me and Keno about if you should buy a snake. We don't know. We don't know what this snake is gonna be. We don't know what this snake is gonna look like. We may not know this guy at all. If it's somebody we know, we probably tell you go ahead and get that snake. But when y'all about to go and do y'all spending spree on snakes this year, just recognize we don't know. We really don't.
Because Mike will do me like Mikey Marsh and say I spent all that money up. What up, Tuck?
we realistically don't know how y'all should spend y'all tax refund checks, man. Hopefully y'all get some tax refund checks, man. Not everybody get them every year.
Why? Because Mikey Mars did try to tell the world that I spent all I was up in it. I was just spending all his pocket, bro. Like I was, like
He
it was
did say
mine.
that. It is not
But
far from the truth.
no, see now you lying, brother. Now I gotta question you, brother, because I ain't never do that.
I'm joking with you, man. I'm joking with
Hey,
you.
what's
So
up though?
shout out.
Why our camera like so clear this week? We in 4K or something?
I think we are. I think they had an upgrade or something. We looking clearer, bro.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the skincare routine. You been hitting the black glass skincare routine.
Yeah, I
You
almost
looking,
went off camera and did something to myself, brother.
yeah, you looking good, bro. Your skin looking good. You looking good.
Yeah, they be cleaning up.
Yeah, yeah. What's your shirt got on it?
Oh, shout out to Cal McGonagall, man. I got this in the mail. Cal McGonagall, he hit me with the lime green joint. I wanted something different. I'm gonna see if I
Damn,
can get the
Kyle, where
back
my
to that.
motherfucking shirt at?
Hey, I don't know if y'all can
Oh,
see
that's
it.
nice. That's nice. Kyle, I'm on your ass, bro. I need a shirt, bro.
Shout out to Cal McGonagall. Hey, it was perfect, man. I got the hat to match already. It's for me.
Damn.
I
What's the
got the
hat?
brim.
Was that like a Halloween color hat?
No, it's blue. You know what I'm saying, with the
No, the
lime
green in
green.
it.
Something different, yeah. With the
That's
lime
nice.
green. Match the shirt. The shirt is immaculate.
What did this man Marlon say? Because you upgraded that cheap internet, man. Get out of here, Marlon. Get out of here. Get out of here. Yeah. So, shout out to MJ and Trap Talk. We was over there with cousin Chuck and cousin Alan. It was a good time, man.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Top to that episode from last week, man.
Yeah, so that was a
Last
good
Thursday.
episode, man. We enjoyed it, and shout out to what they got going on over there on Trap Talk tonight. They got Eugene Bissett, so
Hey,
that's a
I
that's
dropped
a
in there.
must
I
see
listened to
episode.
about 45 minutes of it. I dropped in early.
Yeah, I'll probably get a chance to go through it tomorrow when I wake up. So
He
yeah,
was over there spitting
shout out
that. Took
shout
us
out
down
to the
Chondro
boys over
Lane.
at Trap Talk. What else we got? We probably should go back to doing MVF deep dives. I got lazy on that shit. But we should probably go back to doing this. So next week you might
Well,
actually
I ain't
get.
gonna say you got lazy. Ron's got kids, so I understand.
We got churns, bro. Listen, when you get some churns just they're gonna ruin your
And
life.
it ain't about having kids. It's about when they start. When you get multiple, they can get that like just getting on your nerves. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Or you get one that want to just be. I swear, bro, it's crazy how like one of my kids is complete opposite of the other. It was like one is just complete. Just you know,
Yeah.
like
I got one too, bro.
what people say about Escalades.
Bro, listen. Both my kids got flu B, and I stayed home with them because they was sick. Um, but they wasn't really sick. They got fevers and they coughing and shit, and they got snot running down their noses. But they was just like, we want to go outside. I'm just like, I thought y'all was sick. When I was a kid, if I was sick, it might be a cool day if I had to stay with my mom or my dad. But if they was just like, well, we got stuff to do. You going to grandma's house. First of all, she's gonna make you drink cod liver oil or whatever old ass people medicine she
Castor
got.
oil,
Castor oil. She
Father
gonna she gonna
John's,
she gonna put a
that orange
blessing on
box.
you. She gonna hit you with blessed oil and pray over you. And then
Yeah.
you're gonna watch all the game shows, and then you're gonna watch Young and the Restless. Uh you're gonna hear all
Unsolved
about what
mysteries.
Victor been doing because Victor fucking everybody on the show, so you gotta listen to that. I don't know
I
how Victor
remember
was
that.
old. He
But
fucked
you definitely
everybody
gonna
on the
watch a lot
show.
of unsolved mysteries too.
Oh yeah, Unsolved Mysteries, Matlock. My grandma's shit was In the Heat of the Night, and I ain't mind the Heat of the Night because I fuck with the theme song.
And the heat of the night.
In the heat of the night.
Most definitely
I
gonna
fuck
watch
with that.
the Price is Right.
Yeah, yeah. And then in the afternoon, you might get to watch the Jetsons or some shit. But listen, being
Yeah.
sick, being sick at my house was cool. They was like, "Well, you gonna stay with your grandma? We got shit to do." That shit was whacked in a motherfucker.
Nah,
And then you got
my grandma made us lay in the bed. You had to be in the bed all day under the covers, like sweating.
oh yeah. There was no up and playing, no none of that. You ain't playing with
No,
G.I. Joe, none of that. Sitting there looking old, wrapped up and shit, because she gonna make you put on 2 layers of clothes, because every time you get sick, old people think you'll get pneumonia and shit.
right.
So you gonna be here wrapped up. Yeah, man.
With 2 pair jogging pants on, yeah.
Yeah. You gonna what's up, Mark? You gonna be there just and what's up, Didi? You just gonna be there
Go sweat
being
it
an
out,
old
brother.
man. You're gonna be an old man with your old ass grandma being sick. All right, y'all. Without further ado, man, we're gonna bring our guests in and get this show cracking early. We got Garrick, man. So y'all show some love to Garrick.
What's going on, DD?
What's up, guys?
What's up,
Mark,
Mr. Garrick?
Yeah,
Thank
what's
you for
going
having
on?
Hey, we glad to have you. Garrick, how do you pronounce
Thank you
your
for
last
pulling
name?
up on us.
Gukasayn.
Okay. Gukasayn.
Gukasayn. Okay, I thought it was Gukasayn.
Yeah, it's hard, man. Even for me, it's Armenian.
He's even for me.
Sorry for me. Listen, man. My last name Irvin, and people like to put an E on the back of it. They like to put Irving on the back of it.
Oh.
And now that I live in Texas, everybody thinks I'm related to Michael Irvin. I'm just like, nah, I'm not.
Oh,
I can see the resemblance, bro, because y'all both black.
You want to know what it did though? It got my ticket cut in half one time, and I went to go pay my ticket because it said, Antonio, you got to go to court actually and plead guilty or not guilty. And the judge was like, well, the lady up front, he was like, she said that you were really nice and you probably didn't do all this. I'm like, what's all this talk about this shit for? And I'm just getting a ticket. He cut my ticket in half, so I had to go there and pay her. She was just like, so are you related to Michael Irvin? I'm like, nah, I'm not related to Michael Irvin. She was just like,
I'll be like, yeah.
she was just like, where are you? She's like, are you from Texas? I was like, nah, I'm from Memphis. And she was like, well, you want to be a Cowboys fan? We do these parties. I was like, hell no, man. Just let me get my ass up out of here. But yeah, I was about to get fucked up. Kyle McGon, I want my shirt, bro.
Hey, when you told her you was from Memphis, did she duck?
Nah, bro. She tried to invite me to some tailgate party, bro, but I wasn't having it. Not trying to hang out with the course version of a lunch lady. You know how they got, you don't know, ladies, they got them big lunch lady arms where it's got like the triple rolls in the back of it.
That's how you know the rice is gonna be good though.
Listen,
Cal,
man.
what up, Cal? I started the show early in like the first 3 minutes.
Listen, when you see arms like that, you know that gravy game is crazy. You know that if you got arms like that lady, the folds in there is supposed to be just regular fat. But the reason why they got their little crease in it because they hit that gravy with the whisk all day.
They get the good kind of butter just right.
Yep. All right, Garrick, man, we're going to stop bullshit, bro. Tell us, about yourself, where you from in Cali, how things, started for you. Mark is upset that Garrick stole Luka. I don't think that's really what happened, but he's upset about it.
No, the front office, they said Luka too fat. All he do is eat and drink.
Yeah, he love his beer, man. Luka love that beer.
Ain't nothing wrong with the man drinking a beer every now and then.
Oh, me?
No, you talk about Luka Doncic, the Mavs basketball player. This was the biggest blockbuster trade in history. The Mavs gave him away to the Lakers. For Anthony Davis.
I got the first Cal shirt. I'm like Soldier Boy. I'm the first snake keeper to have a Mohawk shirt.
Oh, okay. So then, what did I do? I have a Superman shirt on. I mean,
yeah, I got a Goosebumps shirt on.
We all got to rep something, right?
We got to do something. Yeah. But tell us about yourself, Garrick. Let's get into it.
So, well, you guys know my name. You guys know my hobby, but I'm from Cali, Los Angeles, specifically in the Valley. I've been here for the last 10 years. Before that, I was born in Hollywood, raised in Malibu. So just an LA local, if you will.
Okay.
Yeah, I went to UCLA for college. I graduated, started a restaurant, closed the restaurant, and now I'm making a switch into a different line of work. But yeah, the conversation for a different day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What type of
What kind of
restaurant was it, by
restaurant
the
was
way?
it?
So I actually had two. I had a Waba grill, and that was I had that with my family, and then I had our own kind of like me and a friend. We had opened up an outdoor restaurant called Fire Fries, and it was supposed to be like novelty fries and things like that.
Mm.
It, I guess COVID really did a number to that.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to be around anybody, so restaurants took a little bit of a hit.
Yeah, during COVID, man, you guys in Cali, like y'all really took quarantine seriously.
Oh yeah.
Out here in Texas, we did not take quarantine serious in Texas. I
Florida
know
did.
that
Florida didn't either, brother.
I know that people go say, we did, but listen, I lived through it, bro. Like, we didn't take quarantine seriously in Texas. By like June, we was back outside and everybody in Cali was in the house like, man, y'all motherfuckers in Texas, y'all just don't give a damn. We didn't. We
You guys
didn't.
are lucky, dude. It was bad. Like, if you guys have been out here, it's always traffic and
Yeah.
always
It was like
traffic.
that
The
here
streets were
too, yeah.
empty. Yeah, it was completely dead. Like there was nobody on the streets, even for quite a while after COVID died out. Like when
Yeah.
2022, 2023, still that, and then it was just you nobody saw anybody, like there was a lot of like guilt tripping, like, oh, you're going to see your friends, like, do you not care about the rest of us? What if you kill us? And they take
Yeah.
it serious, and like,
Right? Did you used to have to ride around with that placard in your car?
no.
So I
No.
did because I worked for a food. I worked for a food place, so they was like, make sure you ride around with this. You got the number on there. It was like laminated. I felt like a kid with a hall pass.
Oh, it's the worst.
Yeah.
It's the worst, honestly.
Hey, but look though, when we went to Florida, I hopped off the plane with the mask on. Everybody was looking at me like I was crazy. hey. I was like,
Yeah.
it made me feel bad. I was like, damn, maybe I should take my mask off.
Yo, listen. I was thinking about COVID the other day, and I was just like, because I was looking at this thing, and it was talking about how like sexually transmittable diseases are going up in Houston and other parts of Texas. I was just like,
Wow.
yeah, COVID will let you show you, like, if they wasn't putting on masks, they damn sure ain't putting on no damn condoms.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
In Texas, they just put some brisket rub on it and go in. They don't got no damn condoms.
Oh, that's terrible, man. Then again, I mean, I'm sure you guys saw the videos, right, during COVID, where it was like on the news, it was like a car crash or something, and then they're like, oh, this person died of COVID, like it's a car crash. It was the BNet, so
Yeah. All right, man. So when you were younger, man, when did you start getting into reptiles, man?
Honestly, one of my first memories was with a reticulated python when I was like 3-4 years old. It was like a circus. Yeah, like I guess I really wanted to just hold it, and they were allowing people to just put it over your neck and take a picture, and I did, and it's probably one of the like earliest memories I have. And then they were also like one of the first pets I had as well. It was, and then I also did have a ball python in high school. So
Okay.
yeah, it was nothing special because for me, on it, the brown and black look was always my favorite. But yeah, I had that for a few years until moving out, and then at the last year of college, I also got a Brazilian rainbow boa, or a trio of those, and then I sold those to buy my first green tree python. So
Okay. So you grew up with reptiles. How are your parents with you having reptiles?
they hated it. They hated it so much. My dad told me afterwards that after I moved out, that he had nightmares quite often from the snakes. They hated it.
He thought someone would get out and escape with him.
That, I mean, and then just the idea, people who don't like snakes, they think of it like that. it's a repulsion almost, you know, like
Yeah.
they never
They
once did
think
they
of
step
it as a devil. Yeah.
Yeah, well, actually, it's funny. A lot of cultures think of snakes as protectors, you know,
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah,
good
that's
symbols as well. But I guess that people in general just demonize them. So I had chameleons too. A lot of them panther chameleons, like over a decade ago, though, like 2 decades ago. Uh, th- those were a little bit tricky as well. But once again, nobody steps in your room once you have reptiles. Just it becomes like your own. It truly becomes your own space at that point. So
It's
that was
I think the thing with having reptiles, like people always just like, well, I wouldn't come over there because you got reptiles. Just like
yeah.
it probably is like a good deterrent for fucking freeloaders too. They probably would have came over your house and ate up all the good butter and everything. But you got snakes over there, they ain't gonna bring their ass over there. So I never look at it as bad. But I also think it's probably like a primal fear too. Probably something that you from way, way back and be like, don't mess with the demon noodle.
The people even now though, like I'm sure you guys know when they want to come over to your house, like like for the first time, they'll ask really weird questions like, "Oh, you're gonna put the snakes back in their cages though when I come, right?" And you're just like roam around like
Yeah.
during the day, like someone. You know how many people ask like, "Do you sleep with the snakes?" I swear, like it's a legitimate question people ask. They see
Yeah, people
videos.
always ask that, or
Yeah.
they'll ask always the
Yeah,
same thing. I heard that story about the snake that was sleeping next to the lady and sizing her up, and is that one and the one the whole? It's like you tell them, no, I got these nice 2x2 or 3 foot by 2 cages, and you go in there and they look real nice, and they're like, but they get to go wherever they want. No, that's not how it
yeah,
is.
it's crazy. It's crazy. The questions people ask, like, oh, do they lay eggs through their mouth, like, and shit like that? Do they shit through their mouth? Like, he's like, of course not. Like,
Well, you also got to think about
that's humans. That's humans that have diarrhea at the mouth. That's not them.
yeah,
but you also got to think about it, man. Like these questions, they ask these questions because they don't know, bro. They don't know.
yeah,
They see a snake on Discovery Channel bite a weasel, and that's about
Yeah.
all they know.
yeah. It's
He's like
insane.
biting the weasel.
that's how much they do. They listen. They probably know about snakes as that they got from reading Ricky Tikki Tavi. That's how they got all their snake knowledge. Or anaconda, bro. They always think snakes is big as shit and gonna eat you.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just don't even bother with it. So, Garrick, would you start with the green trees, man?
So, the day after, I want to say it was the day after, or a few days after I moved back home from college. I had like my own dorm and everything, apartment in college. When I moved back, I got my first green tree python. It was a Maruke type import.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it from a friend here. His name is Luke. I'm sure you guys have heard of him or seen him on Instagram.
Luke Snakewalker?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I remember his stuff back in the day.
Yeah, so I got my first one from him. It was like this massive dark green. It was beautiful, super friendly. Green tree python. I was debating between that or emeralds, if you want to know the truth. And I ended up going towards green tree pythons because that dark green look without any patterning was just so pretty to me. So, yeah, but I had no intentions of breeding. I kept them, and then I got a Biak, which is, I guess, the second GTP I ever have. I still have it. Her name is Ivy. Posted up a picture of that recently. She was in terrible shape when I got her. Terrible shape. I fixed her up, and then after that, I was like, okay, they're not like this extremely difficult species that people have made them out to be. Like this snake Ivy was on the verge of death when I got her. Like let me try my hand at something a little bit more expensive, and I did. I guess. Long story short, I ended up getting like a large group. Again, a local guy, Ed Bradley. I'm sure you guys have heard of him.
Yeah, we had Bradley.
Yeah. And from there, I guess I had a very small group, man. I had a very small group of, I guess, adults and a couple of babies, like just fresh babies. and I just bred, and then continued adding on every now and then, mostly from Ed, as he trimmed out. But I guess after I got my house, I was a little bit more. I guess I was a little bit more at ease with bringing in stuff because now I have actual quarantine room. Like I have like bedrooms on bedrooms, and if not, I can always take them to my parents' house. So, I keep them there for quarantine. Once they're passing, bring them here.
So your dad don't like the snakes, but he still let you use his house as quarantine. Your dad loves you, bro.
He loves me. Honestly, I there's another jackpot I hit is great parents. It's they might not like the snakes. They don't support it. In fact, probably once a month for 4 years, my mom was offering me like $500 to sell off my entire collection. Really? Like 500? Really? Like, but
that's just how parents are, man. They don't understand what you like, Just like,
they don't believe to this day.
Once you start getting rid of your Pokemon cards and shit.
Yeah. But to this day, I'm telling you, they don't believe that people pay more than like a couple $100 for snakes. I swear, like they don't believe it. So
I don't think that's weird. I just think that's parents, man. Like they don't see anything you do as useful, bro.
Yeah.
That's just it. My mom, she'll come over, she'll be like, you still got snakes? I'll be like, yeah. But she's like kind of cool with it as long as she don't see the snakes. Like she'll ask, so you do anything cool with snakes? I'm like, yeah. She'll be like, okay, good. That's all I need to hear.
That's mine too. My mom too.
She's rocking with him.
Not my mom.
Oh no.
My mama don't mess with the snakes either, dog. She ain't messing with it. She ain't fooling with it.
You can't really blame her. They're a very acquired taste,
Yeah.
The more colorful a snake is too, the more venomous it looks, So people instinctually don't like want to get close to colorful pets,
And the word python scares people too. I've come to realize that too. As soon as they say what kind of snake, you got one of them pythons? Like, yeah, it's a python. It's a green tree python though. Oh, but it's gonna get like 10 feet. I was like,
I wish. I fucking wish.
The comparisons too. So mine are born in Armenia, my parents, and pretty much they say, oh, like green snakes go for like $10, not even that. Because they're talking about the tree snakes that are the garden snakes that they have. Like, we're paying this much for a snake like this. I think the first time I actually spent like a little bit more than normal on a snake, they were like shocked and like they were just mind blown that I paid more than $10 for a green snake. So that's the key word there.
It makes sense, man. As much as we don't want it to make sense, like our parents, they just don't get it, man. They don't care to get it either. Their version of seeing things is different. Like you gotta think about it, man. Like when we talked to Trooper, like even in the 70s when he was doing his thing, like most people didn't know a bunch of people with pet snakes, man.
Yeah,
and they still don't. But in their day and age, people didn't really have snakes like that. I mean, shit, when I was a kid, I didn't know a lot of people reptiles besides me. Most people's idea of a pet was a dog, and it was either a good dog or a dog that chased you around the neighborhood. It's only two kinds of dogs.
Yeah.
So true.
There was some fish. Every now and then somebody had some Oscars.
Yeah.
Fish
too. Yeah.
Those black people think Oscars or Jack Dempsey.
Yeah, I think that like one of the things that when I was a kid, like you would run across somebody every once in a while that had a ferret.
Oh yeah, you don't get that out here. They're illegal, but yeah.
Why ferrets illegal in California?
Well, so the fish and wildlife is actually very weird here. So reticulated pythons, anacondas, like they're totally okay. You don't even need a any sort of license to keep them, but something that could potentially destroy the ecosystem. Like I guess they're like a gopher, you can't have it. Like they're very strict on the ecosystem portion of things.
Like so, like ground dwelling mammals.
That I mean, I don't know if venomous also, but venomous is also illegal here. But I know for a fact, like ground dwelling, like you said, which is crazy because some of them actually help rid, like of like the ecosystem of rodents and things like that. But I guess they don't want to disturb it, turn it into Florida, or I don't know.
Yeah, Florida's too far gone.
That's a whole nother that's a whole nother country, brother.
Yeah, bro. Yeah,
That's
Florida. Yeah, it's gone. Have y'all heard of that shit? The chameleon ranching?
Yeah, of course.
I never heard of it.
So like people they set out, they like get chameleons and they let the chameleons go in their neighborhood. And then they just kind of like they basically treat their neighborhood like a ranch for chameleons, and they go get the babies and then sell them.
Okay. I knew the first guy who did that because that was like back like 15 years ago.
That's kind of raw.
I think he introduced it like all sorts of chameleons into the wild, and they started like intermingling.
TPC, I grow herbin every day.
Yeah, they're not even pure like ambelobes or anything like that in the wild. They're just mixes, which is pretty cool if you think about it from a keeper perspective. But it's a huge disruption to the ecosystem, which is not even that fragile anymore over there. It's a fuck. So, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it'd be kind of cool to go into your backyard and cluck out, like this beautiful panther chameleon, if you ask me. I mean,
yeah.
So, but
it sounds crazy, but it's just that's just what happened with reptile keepers and being wild boys, man. We got some problems. We can't lie. Like we have created some problems. Not all of them, but we have created some problems.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, man. So let's get to it, Garrick. So when you first started getting animals from Mr. Bradley, what were your plans like? And I remember we talked about this back in the day, and you had some plans, but they weren't in the group chat. So, like, what were your plans when you first started getting green trees? Like, what did you want to build your collection with? What was the end goal and things like that?
So, when I first got started, I guess that was quite a while ago. Like, talking about like the Ed Bradley animals and things like that. Ed was calling them Wamena Highlands, but upon my research and things like that, back in the day, he was calling them pure Wamena, I guess. And then that sparked a bunch of controversy because people were saying that the original female, had all the telltale signs of a monoquari. It's classic looking monoquari. And so he started calling them Wamena Highlands. But I guess me being a little more loyal, if you will, wanted to call them what Ed originally thought, which was pure Wamenas. So essentially, I thought Kronos himself was a pure Wamena. I wanted to do pure Wamena projects. That was the dream for me, but it was such a difficult, very, very difficult locale to find. The one or two that I found ever that were being sold, one of them was just thickly, and the other one was so basic that it, like, even if it was a pure Wamena, it was almost like it wouldn't have done my pairing any justice to pair my animal to that,
Yeah.
And again, at the time, there were a lot of people that were mislabeling. That was pretty big too. Like, because again, if you have like a regular Jaya, you might get, let's say, a certain amount of money for it. But if you call that thing a Cyclops or a Wamena, which is not even that far off from it, you'd get more, because they're both Eastern type animals and things like that. Yeah. So I guess I kind of didn't want to just risk it, with buying something sickly, or I didn't want to just breed it to just anything, like kind of that wouldn't do it any justice. So I guess the main focus aside from that was just focusing on blue, like just how can I recreate this guy's look? How can I make this happen in every generation and keep it back? Because that was the only time I truly discovered that I wanted to breed. Before that, I loved them like as pets, like my Biak and my Maruke, but I had no intention on that until I saw like Kronos for the first time and Blue Moon, and you just see that, and there's a part of you that's shocked. You almost don't believe your eyes that these animals can get colors like this, So it's that kind of sparked it for me, and I kind of knew like if I wasn't gonna do pure Wamenas, I was gonna do my best to do Highland pairings, And there was like other reasons for that too. I did a lot of research. I saw that the genetic blues primarily came from the Highlands. Like you're never gonna find them anywhere else other than red Highland type animals. And regardless of what controversy that might spread, I mean, that's the way I see it. That's the way I'm only ever going to see it. So I just figured if I was gonna do crosses, my main goal was gonna be locality, like Highland type crosses, and keep that going into different generations. So I guess that and finding animals that were compatible for that, because that not every red Highland type animal is compatible for blue. Like some of them, you look at them and you just can see like a yellowish wash springing from underneath and like really nice yellow diamonds, and that's going to be a great animal for, let's say, a different sort of pairing. But I like the ones that are a little bit more compatible towards blue for these kind of projects, and I guess that's kind of the direction I took my stuff in for the most part, with a few exceptions.
So when you talk about your view of blue and how the controversy, what is the controversy with it? Like, I don't think that's too controversial.
No, already like the yellow versus red debates, like could yellows produce blues and things like that of that nature. But I mean, it is this keeper's understanding and this keeper's belief that whether or not they could, the reds and red specifically, like from red Highlands, are going to be the most superior way to do it. So again, it's just because you see Arus that go hormonally blue, you see yellow Neo Sarongs that have, again, hormonally blue, or you see a lot of imports that come in that are scraped up, like scar tissue that are blue, or UV
or black
that are blue. Yeah, like even black, like Kino pointed out, like that. Sometimes you even see that in Biox too. Honestly, like, how many people would message me, "Hey, I think I have a blue snake. It's a blue Biox. It's so rare," and then you just already know what it is. It's like this purplish like tone with like nice black hue to it that you can just
except that one Patrick got. I think
that's a completely different story. That animal, and there's always exceptions to every rule.
Yeah.
That one is
for sure.
Hormonally beautifully blue.
For sure.
But again, those are like so rare. You don't bring that up like when you're like talking about something like this, because then you're confusing keepers, like. But typically, you're just not gonna see it happen. Like even I have a Biak that with some time age breeding, and a little bit of hormonal action, she picked up a lot of blue, and it's like a grayish hue. Like it's not a blue, it's like a grayish tealish. It's still not the same thing. Like, they're not comparable to the genetic true blues. It's just not in the same league of any sorts. Like, I mean,
no. So that makes a lot of sense. But like also with the blue conversation, what about animals that they come out, they go through OCC, they get blue, and then they go green? Like, what do we call those?
Fuck, those are called a disappointment. I've only seen that once, dude. One time. That was the most disappointing thing ever. The most disappointing thing ever. I had a female straight out the OCC. She was like a shade of blue that you almost never see, like vibrant blue and black. And eventually, as time went on, the black kind of fades into like a lighter blue or a gray or like a seafoamy color. And as a whole, the animal looks different. So it might have had a lot of blue when, like, to the naked eye, when the rest of the body was black and orange. But when that other color starts fading away, you know, and picking up, let's say, different shades, that same blue, you don't see that as much anymore because now it's like blended into a more green or gray or whatever.
Not a seafoamy look. That was a perfect description.
Yeah, seafoam. Sure, it's so that animal that I'm talking about still went blue, but it was nowhere near the shade of blue that I thought it was going to be. You know, the shade of blue I thought it was going to be was revolutionary, and it ends up going into just a very nice, like, true blue look. You know, but nothing that's revolutionary. You know, like that's gonna. Anyway, so it happens. It's rare. I typically don't see that too much. Usually, if they're going blue, they're going blue. Like that. That's it. They've started their transition. It's very unlikely that they don't make it from my bloodlines. But again, I have seen that in a lot of other bloodlines, though, like ones that, and it's kind of going back to what I said that I saw happen with one of mine. You know, like some initial scales start changing. It gives like this a false hope, and then the rest of it starts or continues, and it turns into like a just above average animal, you know.
So the ones in your experience, like based off the bloodlines you're working with, like when do your animals usually start turning blue? The ones that you've seen.
Fuck, bro, like it's all over the place. That one is the most unpredictable thing, and that could be in part due to the fact that it's still a rather fresh bloodline. You know, there hasn't been that many generations of selectively keeping back the fastest changes for me to be like, okay, like if they're not blue by a certain age, they're not going to be blue, you know, because I've seen them change well up until like 7 years old. And even up until recently on other people's bloodlines, I actually saw some animals change at an even later date than that. And I'm not so certain that it's because of it's not hormonal or I'm talking about males, by the way. And I'm not so certain it's age related either. Like I think every now and then there are exceptions to the rule. Obviously, when we're talking, when you're telling somebody about it, you're not telling them about the exceptions so that they can get their hopes up for that. But no, typically I see it anywhere from 8 months to 7 years old. I would say like 7 being like a late change. Typically, I want to say the majority will change from slightly before 2 years old to a little bit after 4. That's usually the window when the most amount will change. Like the most amount of snakes that are going to be blue, that's usually the window when they'll change. If you get it to change before that, it's a rather fast changer from my stuff, let's say, because I've had stuff change at like 8 months old. Like it goes like Gemini, for example, one of my more well-known snakes. As blue as it is, it was not a super blue by any means. It went through a green and black phase for literally like 1 month, and I have it recorded, and then went blue like the following month, all well before it was a yearling, which was completely unexpected, completely, you know. And then I've had other ones that it was a slow transition, you know. They all change so weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's probably because the amount of diversity I have in the genes. I think there's like a lot of different genes at play there, you know, that will
factors that come in that make them maybe enhance them or slow them down.
Yeah.
What would your percentage say? What was the percentage say you look out there and you say, okay, this person got my stuff, and the ones you kind of look at and you disappointed in?
Wait, the ones that. So I would say I can't even accurately answer that because a lot of the people I've sold to, I don't hear back from them. You know what I mean? Like they might have bought a pet or they might have bought a couple, or chondros might not have been their main focus. You know, they might have been, let's say, a leopard gecko breeder or something, and they saved up and they bought a few and they just wanted to keep them back. And very often I can message people asking for updates and even be left on red or be like, yeah, I'll get it to you in a second, and never hear back from them. Sometimes it's even ones that turn blue. There was a friend and customer of mine that bought a larger group from me. And I didn't hear from him for a while, and I messaged him like, hey, like, I thought personally I didn't hear from him because maybe they might not have turned out as expected. And then it turned out like more than half of them had gone very high blue, and
Right.
I thought that was weird. He just kept saying, yeah, like I want to keep it like kind of private so that way when I start breeding, I post it and I show this and that, which for me is like upsetting. I want them to post it like as is changing because it's beautiful. But I mean, I get all sorts of mixes. There's none that I would say I look at and say are basic or ugly. I mean, at the very minimum, I see like pretty patterning and things like that in them. But I would say it's not yet clear either, because my oldest clutch is just now turning like is this year going to turn 6. You know, like the rest of my stuff is at best turning like 3, 4. You know, like so they're still rather young. You know, like I still have stuff that are turning blue for the first time for my very first clutch. Like, and I'm just now getting updates on them. So, you know.
Right. Okay, that's cool. All right.
So I gotta ask you this question with the neonates that you have had. You may not have gotten to see all of them, but when it comes down to it, how do you feel other people are going to do with breeding these snakes? Do you think that they're going to see some of the same results? I mean, if they pair it to something similar, but also at this point in time, when you talk about your genes, are you going to create your own bloodline and name it something?
So which one do you want me to answer first?
You can answer it however you want to answer it, man.
All right. Okay. So the first one, just to clarify, it was how do I feel about people's pairings with the animals they got from me?
Yeah.
Honestly, it excites me. You know, if the only time people, I'm sure you guys have noticed, I'll post something on my story is if it's an animal that people have bought from me, or if it's a descendant of something that, again, I've let go of. So I get very excited, very, very excited. So much so that I even help people with their own advertising for it and things like that. It's really wonderful to me because a lot of people will breed from genetics that I don't have here. You know what I mean? They might take an animal of mine and breed it to, let's say, TWBL or something. And it's something, for example, I don't keep the genes of over here. So seeing that happen is quite fantastic for me. Or, you know, like people experiment, and I guess I'm not so arrogant to think that my way is the only way to produce good results, you know? So it's kind of fun to see what, you know, the schemes that other people plot and hatch. And honestly, it's quite fun to even help them at times, you know, like to make their dreams come true. So, I mean, there's a lot of people with pairing ideas out there that wouldn't have even occurred to you. You know what I mean? Like, or me for that matter. It wouldn't have occurred to me. So it's really nice to see that, you know, and especially when they end up in like different countries too. Like I got a GG in Europe now, a dialect. I think I saw her in the chat. You know,
she's here.
That for me is really awesome. You know, like they're GGs in Europe. You know, like, and now in Canada too. You know, and I guess it feels like it's an extension of you, and you know, like out there, and it just feels like there's a community aspect to it that gets created as well. We all want the same thing, is to watch these things succeed, you know, and I guess it's really exciting to see that happen, you know?
Okay. So the second part of
many of the people even have produced snakes that are just as nice, if not nicer than the ones that I have. You know, I've
Yeah.
seen that happen from my own stock, you know. So I think that that's been really amazing and really satisfying to watch. Sorry, continue. It's just
Oh no, I was just gonna say the second part, creating your own line. Because at this point in time, if the genetics have as much as you say that are going on in them, then if you're looking at these animals produce over time, then you should be able to say, this is a Garrick line or whatever it is. Are you going for that?
And if you don't want to do that, like if you don't want to do that right now, or you don't feel comfortable doing that right now, how many productions down the line are you feel comfortable and safely saying that?
I mean, it's funny. It is something that gets talked about quite often, you know, like I've heard it like in people's posts and things like that. And, you know, I've even talked to Ed about the situation too. He was also asking me the same thing, like, when are you going to do it? But I guess my reasoning for why I haven't is very similar to why he like kind of never needed to label anything of his, you know, like he never needed to call his stuff, let's say like the Ed Bradley Bioc line. It just happened organically, you know. And for me, honest to God, the labels don't mean anything, you know. I when I first got started too, I saw people all the time posting up very diluted animals, like diluted bloodlines and things like that, calling it a blue line. And you look at it and it's greener than, you know, Kino's shirt, you know, like it's green, you know. And it's like, okay, blue line this, and you look at the parents.
Hey, hold on. Hey, don't be out here disrespecting the descendants from 35,000 years ago, man. You know, they still got like 2.9% or like 0.003% blood in that. You gotta post that, brother.
Well, that's also a tricky thing, man. When you look at some of these animals.
Hold up. There was no disrespect by that. What I mean to say, like, it's very exciting.
Hey, no, that came from Trooper Walsh. Trooper said that on our show. So.
It's very exciting to have animals from those bloodlines. Very.
Yeah,
however, what I mean to say is that there's what people use as labels, you know, like for marketing purposes. What they use as labels to make money is not really like as interesting for me as, I guess, that portion of the hobby where it becomes like a little bit more business or advertising or marketing. It's not as interesting for me as kind of what it is I'm producing. It's just that's the fact of it. You know, like, call it whatever you want. I mean, they're GG Productions. You can call it this or that. It's not going to change, you know, what it is you're seeing. You know, I mean, listen, you want to get excited about, let's say, having a certain percentage of a bloodline, you should be able to get excited about that. You know, like, you paid for that animal for that reason, get excited about it. You know, like, all the more power to you. It's just not what my goal, you know what I mean? My goal is very visual. And again, a lot of these people, the reason why these bloodlines are famous is because they produce it, you know, like, and over periods of time and generations that they've done it successfully, you know. So all the more power to them, you know, for, I guess, that all. But like I said, it's that part of it is not as exciting, like, as in calling something like GG blue line or something is not as exciting for me as, let's say, like, producing something that looks a certain way, you know. I guess, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think that regardless of if you call it something or not, you still got a stamp on it. It's still going to be GG, which is, you know, is special within itself.
Yeah, I mean, I think of it very similarly. You know, like, if I've done it, if I put the time into that pairing, it meant something to me. I don't pair randomly. I don't just try to get eggs. There's a goal behind every single one of my pairings. Chances are, if it's not for now, it's for 5 years from now or 10 years from now, to combine it back to something, you know, like, which I haven't thought out, you know, like, how I would ideally like it to go. And of course, you want to make God laugh, you tell him your plans, but it's not going to stop us anyway from trying to make them, you know? Right. So I guess it's, for me, exactly what Travis said. It's that.
Well, Also we got to talk about this, Garrick. I mean, 6 years in of productions, you've kind of gone through it, and you're the new hotness, man. So how does that feel, being the new hotness, and then also people's expectations of you, as well as your
Oh,
productions?
oh, you know what? I love this question.
No. And how did that 98, that year you did them 98 babies, how did that put the pressure on yourself?
Yeah, add that to it.
The 98?
Did you have like 98 babies you produced one year?
No. Oh, no. It was 63 or 64.
I thought you said it was like 98 babies.
No. No. That would be nice though. That would be very nice.
Okay.
I feel like pretty fucking early on, with my first clutch, I guess I did start hearing a lot of people being like, oh, like, have they turned blue yet? How many are turning blue? And it's, these animals were, I guess, held to a certain standard, like that. It's very hard for anybody's bloodline to hold someone to that kind of standard when let's say your animals might not have even started changing yet, like,
Yeah.
I guess towards people's expectations, it's kind of the same thing as letting them know, like, okay, like even my founding adults, they turned blue at a later stage in their life. Like Kronos turned blue after he was 2. Blue Moon turned blue after he was like 6 or 7, probably around the same time Kronos did. Like, it's safe to say that a large majority of my animals might not turn blue like straight out of the OCC. If anything, like, I doubt that very many will, straight out. Like, so even when I got like animals that straight out of the OCC were showing signs of going blue, like, for me that was huge. Like that was that was something I wasn't expecting. I fully expected all of my animals to go through the stages of life where they go like green and then they go high blue, and then or maybe like they go green and then start pixelating into blue. And I actually got animals that, though I would never call them a super blue, because I don't think that they changed with green as well. That's what I mean. But they or black or whatever, but they changed in such a way that I just knew like right away, like, okay, this thing is going blue. Like it's very unlikely that it's not gonna keep going at the same trajectory. Like whatever black it has, it's dropping it and going blue. Whatever green it has, it's fading away into blue. So that was really incredible, to see. And I guess it also spikes certain expectations. Here's another thing: when because you're gonna post naturally the things that you're most proud of, like that's normal. So you can post it, and people are gonna like expect like a certain standard, like from all across the board. And I think every breeder should tell you, like, do not expect like something like that on every snake that you buy. It's not reasonable, like you get it for its bloodlines. You get the animal because it has a chance at doing it. You know what I mean? If not, go and make a ridiculous offer on blue snakes. You know what I mean? And hope it works. Otherwise, if you're buying babies, you're buying, like yearlings, you're buying a chance at that, So I guess as far as like being like what you said, the hot stuff goes, it's just reminding people, like, I guess, and not setting like these wrong expectations or not these like unachievable or standards, like to newcomers, and letting them know like that it is very possible that your snake will not go blue, the way its parents might, and it becomes even more difficult if the parents of the snake you bought are not blue. You know what I mean? Like the further down you go, the harder it's going to become, like that's the fact of life, it's genetically that, and that's exactly why you try breeding from the best that you have, the bluest that you have, is so that the next generation will have a higher chance or a larger percentage go blue. It's setting realistic standards and goals, so nobody feels like they've fallen behind.
I think that's a wonderful answer.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, I want to we had a lot of questions, man. I've got more questions, but um,
Yeah,
I'm gonna give
I
other
think
people a
that's so.
chance as because also
What's
I
going
don't
on,
want.
Chris?
What up, Chris? He wanted to know. He was like, Garrick, what specifics do you look for in Neos when choosing holdbacks?
Okay.
TPC, I'm gonna get back to your million questions you asked too, bro. I got you.
Sorry, I took so long on answering the other ones. I'll be quick with the.
No. Do it how you feel, man. We got
All right.
time.
Yeah. It's just okay. So let's answer Oso's first. And what's up, Oso? Garrick, what specifics do you look for in meals when choosing holdbacks? So as you guys know, I do almost all red stuff. I've only ever had one mixed clutch, and that was I bred a couple of wild caught snakes for genetic diversity. But aside from that, for the red neos that get held back, and specifically from my the bluish bloodlines or whatever, I like looking for full dorsals. I like looking like the full dorsal stripes. I like looking for larger diamonds, sharper diamonds. The diamond color, it makes a difference. So I like keeping back, of course, the burnt diamonds and high yellow diamonds. Which is not to say that a lighter colored diamond might not be nice, because I've kept those back too when, let's say, they're combined with a few other traits like extremely sharp, like those diamonds and stuff like that, because it gives me a very like Monoquari reminiscent look, and that could be a very pretty look that you look for in an adult, though they don't always.
I'll be back.
Yeah, no, they don't always change like that. I mean, once the second you've crossed them, you could have a baby that looks like a pure Monoquari, but that changes and ends up looking like a Wamena or some sort of like hybrid, So it's not a foolproof science, of course, but
That's what I like in the artifact look.
Yeah. I mean, they're pretty amazing, and the dark babies are very nice, though that is not as important to me as it is to most other keepers. If you want to know the truth, I like looking for a very like maroon wine shade. I love that, especially if it's in an undertone. Busy patterning. So I know a lot of people love their reduced patterning. Me personally, I'm a nut for busy patterning. I love that. I love seeing that in adults. I love seeing that in babies. And mind you, I have to say it again, so people know, it's imperative to know, you can have the most beautiful baby that there could be, but if the genes don't support it, it could mellow out as an adult, and vice versa. You can have the most basic baby, but if the genes support it, it could be the nicest one in the clutch. And one of my females, Olympia, she was a solid blue snake before hitting whatever hormonal hue she had and dropping the rest of the green on her, but she was the last pick in her clutch, and she turned out to be the nicest one. So all her other siblings were much crazier, So it's just there are so many examples like that too. It happens all the time. It's pretty standard, though. I would say, of course, your chances are always going to be better with something crazier, like something that's outside of the norm. So you want to know the best way to, I guess, to keep a bluer animal is to hold back as many as possible. But if it's not possible, that's when you start getting selective. Like like you're looking for something that visually it's going to be striking to you. If it's striking to you, chances are there's a reason why, so.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Let's get to one of the other questions. I don't know how to pull that shit up like you do.
Yeah,
so that was Chris. He said with the designer stuff, ontogenesis change. When they change, do they tend to go through multiple big color changes overnight, or is it usually gradual?
I can't answer for, I guess, designer stuff. I can answer for like specifically, I guess, hybrid stuff, if that makes sense. And recently, I mean, I have pure stuff too, but I would say there are certain locales that I've seen, and I've also heard, I guess, the speculations that it might be so. But Eastern type animals take longer to change from everything I've heard. Aside from Biox, we all know Biox take forever to change, but Cyclops, Wamena, Jaya type animals, oftentimes their OCCs are a lot more extended. So I've noticed personally that the animals from my collection that are heavier in Eastern blood will take longer to change for sure, even the initial parts of the OCC. And the reason why I say initial parts is because when you're dealing with animals that have a propensity to turn blue, that's also technically an OCC change that happens after their change, if that makes sense. Like you'll get an animal that might look like it's done or close to done, and it might be green that turns gray, that turns blue, like at the age of 3 or 4. And so that's why I say the initial changes, like where they're turning into green or whatever, that might be extended well up until like 2 years old. Like I've seen many animals, in fact, from my first clutch, which were 75%, I guess, Eastern blood. They were like holding on to baby patternings well into 300-400 grams. It was
so
the weirdest.
How would you compare that to the animals that your offspring from the Blue Jay clutch?
Those
who was from the southern descent.
That's pretty a great question, because those change a lot faster. In fact, and the one wild caught pairing that I told you guys about that I did, that also changed really when they started hitting that change. It was almost like immediate, like a shed cycle started and then boom, they're done. The Blue Jay stuff took a little longer, I think, in part due to the Eastern blood that Kronos has. He's half Wamena. Yeah. But yeah, so Kronos stuff typically takes a little bit longer, but I guess whenever you kind of like start crossing more, I feel like you start introducing these faster changing genes, and typically I think those are stronger because it's a necessary trait for wild animals to change quicker when they start their change, like so that they're not like an eyesore. So I feel like, especially with chondros like that, they'll like the more you breed them, the more generations go by, the quicker their changes are going to be. Whereas if like a straight up, Eastern pairing, like that could take forever to change, dude. Like it's so.
So I know I missed some. Were we still on Oto's question?
No, we just get finished up asking the extended version of Chris Snake Spirit question.
Okay, I'm gonna get to TPC's questions because he asked like 73 million.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we'll start with one. You already said when you got your first chondro. He says, "What was the most you ever paid for an import?"
I won't say the price, but it was heavy. In fact, a few of my imports I paid quite a bit for them. But I mean, it's not so much how much I paid. It's more so kind of like knowing when you know you want something.
You talking about over? You pay over 5?
Yes. Yeah.
I think that goes back to the point, bro. Like, listen, I know that some of y'all, like, because you guys are newer here to keeping chondros, but the idea that you're not going to use imports, or you don't think the imports are worth keeping, let alone the money part of it, you're wrong. And you can go tell whoever that you want to tell that to that I said it, but I really don't give a fuck. You're going to need some imports. A lot of people don't. They do well without imports, but don't be shitting on imports.
I have
some. And for the quality ones, and for quality, I'm going to be honest with you.
You're going to pay.
I'm a quality over quantity guy. I've been like that my whole life. I'm a quality over quantity guy. So if you want what you desire, you got to pay sometimes, man.
Yeah. When you know what you want, you know what I mean? Like, one, you're not going to let something like that stop you. 2, you're going to believe in yourself a little bit. You got to believe in yourself a little bit.
Hold on. You got to have some type of discretion. You can't be, because that's how people end up stuck in Vegas for too long.
Yeah, no, I mean, like if you know it's a healthy animal, it's a pretty animal, you can do
But
something.
for sure, yeah. I got you.
I mean, everything's a risk, but you
Yeah.
bet on yourself, you know. But
No, even hey,
here's
even
something
imports
I
are
want to
risk.
say.
But shit, that's a
Yeah,
risk that as a keeper, I mean, honestly, buying captive bred is a risk because shit, all these animals are living, they can die any minute.
there's that too. But you know,
Yep.
the way I think about it as well, and maybe people might not agree with me, is I think it's easier to get like a blue animal from a well-established designer line. It is, you know, than it is an import. It is, you know, like those lines were bred to produce blue animals, you know, like TWBL was bred to produce it. So it's easier
Yeah, with
to
the imports,
get a
you're
blue
taking a
animal.
long way for sure.
Yeah.
You're
So
staying with
when
the
I see
unknown.
where that's exhibiting these traits that are blue or whatever, and they're not, let's say, what hormonal, I'm willing to put in the money for that because for me that's rare. For me, I can breed, you know, I can breed that to another blue import, and even if the potency, like let's say, because you're taking a risk, right? When you buy an import that's blue, you don't know if how potent that animal's going to be, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But even if it proves out, or even if it doesn't, let's say, even if it's not the most potent like genetic blue, I have very potent genetic blue animals here, you know, like Chronos, Blue Moon, whatever. I compare that to this like fresh blood that also is showing the signs, and it is still selective breeding in all manners, you know. Heck, I can even go as far as to say nature did its selective breeding for me, you know. So yeah, I mean,
Well,
for me,
I still think that like keeping imports,
yeah,
they're keeping imports is a good thing. You just got to have a plan and a protocol. As long
I'm
as
pro captive bred. I'm pro imports. If you know what you're doing, you're not like, again, treating these animals as disposable. If you're actually going to treat it fine, you know, like treat
Yeah.
it whatever, but you know, and it's again gonna go through like a normal source, not like someone who's gonna smuggle it in the worst possible ways, you know. Like it's not so bad, you know. Like,
yeah,
so yeah, when you see something that's it's for me, that's a no-brainer, you know. Like if someone presents me an animal, says like, hey, it's either blue or it looks blue compatible and it's tested clean, you know. Yeah, I would take the risk on it, you know. Like me personally, I would. For me, that's rare, you know. It is. I mean, it might not be as potent as the TWBL animal that they're selling, but it's still pretty rare, you know. It's not. Let's not shit on imports, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we got more questions from TPC. So what your first? It's like what your first clutch? I guess is what was your first clutch that you produced? Some crazy shit was first go, or did you have to try a few times? TPC, we're gonna have a sit down after this.
I think I understood though. I think I understood. So the first clutch had,
Hey, we cool on him, bro. You know, he's speaking from the trailer, brother.
I love TPC. That's my dog. I love him.
yeah. I had a few really nice ones straight out the go. I'll tell you that. I mean, Angel was a snake that from the very beginning she started changing into pink colors, and then immediately I started noticing blue and gray scales coming in, and then eventually it was like blue, gray, and seafoam scales, but still like an overall like it all blue snake, just with lots of green to her too, like a light color green. I have the full change on my page in my highlights. You know, she was like perfect for me. You know, like just that first clutch was really heavy and female as well, and honestly, a couple others started going blue at the end of last year as they were turning 4.5 or 5 or something. So, you know, like it's, I mean, I sold them, let's say, as yearlings when a couple of them, when they might not have been that way, but eventually a couple of them did pick it up, you know, a few actually. I got back updates and stuff like that because people love sharing, you know, that kind of stuff when it starts changing a little faster. into blue. So that was really nice to see that happen.
So we got another question from TPC.
So
He said, "Was your first clutch blue like you were working at, or did you have to give it a few clutches before you produce some great neos?" I think you kind of answered that question.
So it wasn't even just that. The first clutch had one really fast changing blue. The repeat clutch to that one, so essentially the same clutch but repeat. I had a few more babies than that first one, and the amount of blue that I got from different people like that sent me updates and the ones I've kept back, it was insane. Like the amount of chondros that ended up going blue, it really was. I would say more than half actually, from that clutch specifically, that Chronos Siren clutch, more than half of them went blue, and they're not even full adults yet. They're like 3.5. So, and they were very, very big, showing very like willing signs to breed at an early age. It was the most blessing of a clutch that I think I've ever had. Like, I would say it was just amazing. So,
and the last question that we got in was from Snake Spirit. Any observation of big changes occurring after a large meal?
Yeah, sheds. What do you mean by observations of changes, though? Like,
I think he means by OCC.
No, not OCC related changes at all. I noticed that the shed time, of course, is faster, which is something you guys all know.
Yeah.
But also, I don't think shed time even plays a big role, or even a significant role on follicles. So if that's also like, let's say, a divergent of your question, no, I don't think it's made that big of a difference, because I have tried and I just haven't seen a difference like that. I've just seen quicker processes like for shedding. That's about it. Cool. And withholding poop after a shed, that's the worst, and that's usually happens from like the bigger prey items, from what I've seen. You give it like right before the shed. So sorry.
No, that makes sense. I think that's all the questions that we had from the guests. So I guess we'll get back to our questions. So with that being said, man, could you tell us about different iterations of husbandry and feeding that you've gone through? Because I know we talked about how you had your collection boomed once you moved to your house. What are some things that changed? And just over the years of things that you used to do that you realize aren't useful and you changed it up.
So as far as in comparison to most keepers, the amount I've changed is nowhere near as much. Like, as in, so even from my like first couple like podcasts that I did way early on in 2019, the standard of husbandry hasn't changed too much, with the exception of a few things. Like when I first got started, I started with like melamine cages and wooden closet rods for PVCs.
Yeah.
I ditched that the moment I got my house. I hated those. They harbor bacteria. That you might be sold melamine and think like it's waterproof. It's not. Water will always seep through. The first couple months that I bought my first chondros, I also had these little plants in the cages. Ditched that completely. They're a headache to clean. They're very difficult, very messy. But essentially, once I dialed in, like around the time of before my first clutch, haven't changed too much. Like, I've tried different methods of cycling females, come up with the same conclusion almost every time, and that's it. It really depends on your female. Like the most you're going to do is support the female. You're never going to make her do something that she's not ready to do or wants to do. Same thing goes for males. Like, people think there's a magic formula. You're going to plug in a number, like a nighttime drop, and boom, your male is going to, he's going to go heterosexual that night. And it's not the case. Like, he's not going to, if he doesn't want to breed, dropping your temps are not going to make him want to breed. Like, it might be something completely different. That's on the snake. So as far as a lot of
with our males, sometimes it's just age.
it could be age. I mean, I have a 19-year-old male that produced yet another clutch for me from one lock this year. You know, I've had a 3.5-year-old male last year produce a clutch for me. So, you know, like I've seen it on all ends of the spectrum.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
I've seen.
I think the
that
older
male,
ones are more likely than the younger ones.
look, the younger one that's very breeding aggressive, like he wants to breed like hard. I tried him with one female last year. This year I tried him with 2 or 3, and he still only wants to breed that same female. It's the most monogamous snake I've ever seen. Like it happens.
Sometimes it be like that. Sometimes you get turned out at your young age, you know.
It really be like that. So,
I don't think the snakes are turning each other out. I don't.
Your nose is wide open. Your nose be wide open, you know. You
Yeah,
don't sniff, you can't leave.
Are we exploiting the snakes? Are we?
no, we are, but we're offering them a good life. I mean,
I don't think it's exploiting though. It's sometimes, man. Look, she might have had a grip out of this world, brother. You never know, man.
there you go.
Yeah, I've never heard
brother.
them make noises, bro. I always wonder that when you hear the tortoises and they be fucking to make that little noises, they be doing that because they be getting good tortoise coochie. Like, is tortoise coochie? Is it good?
Brother.
If you're hearing a noise,
they pythons, brother. They already squeezed a lot, brother. She might have hit him with them green tree, some GTP Kegels, brother.
They got GTP Kegels. That's what's up.
Oh my god.
That's all I'm saying, brother.
But I do agree with you. Like, there's just something about like the time of year for like breeding, and I don't know what it is. Like, is it time of the year they just don't want to? Is it follicular development? What is it? I don't think we'll ever really know.
So, in fact, that one thing it's so interesting you say that. I've had females very often, almost every year. No matter how early I start pairing them, it could be in September or October even. They won't ovulate until, let's say, April, and not only that, it'll be within a day of what they ovulated the prior year. And I've seen this in like multiple females. Like some of them have like a much wider range, some of them have like a very narrow range, but a lot of the time, like it really is. That's when I started concluding like, what the hell is the point of all this cycling? You know, like they're gonna do what they're gonna do. You know, like let me not give myself more credit than I deserve. You know, like it truly does come down to like, again, the fertility of the snakes, and then you not doing anything to take away from that. You know, that's kind of one big factor. And then I guess just a couple other rules. The golden medium rule: nothing in excess or nothing lacking. Like go by the golden medium. You know, like nothing too much, nothing too little. Temps, food, water, whatever. Like don't overdo it, don't underdo it. And I like keeping things simple. Like I think the more complicated people make things, the more room there is to fuck up. You know, like because everyone, like again, they want to do the best by their animals, as they should, but that doesn't necessarily mean doing more. You know.
Yeah.
So sometimes it just means like cooling off, like, you know, like just let them live, you know, do their own thing without trying to control every aspect of their life.
I mean, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, dude. In fact, so I did.
They need less.
The what?
They need less a lot of the times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Especially like when it comes to people that want to hold them all the time. Just like, bro, if you're gonna breed this thing, you need to leave it alone before you get to that point. Like, you don't really want to be messing with this thing unless you have to.
Okay.
Let it settle in.
Yeah.
But that's
so
why
husbandry.
That's why I got the surrounds from you from the little troublemaker over here, so he could one of them he could just run around and play with it, brother.
Oh shit! Are we gonna see them today?
What, the sarongs?
Whose sarongs are they? Travis's or Kino's?
They're his now.
Okay.
Yeah. They came from Travis though, but I got them specifically because my son, he like to harass me like when I'm cleaning. So I was like, I'm gonna get some that I'm probably not gonna breed, at least one of them, and it'll just be for him, and I could be able to take it out and do stuff like take it to my other son's football practice. You know, bring around the kids and stuff. I like to do stuff like that when they get outside, hot outside during the school year. Go pick the kids up. You know, with it around my neck or something. I'm getting something different, man.
Like dudes at the park.
For real. I like it. I like to see the kids' faces, bro.
I had one of them out for Halloween, and this dude was like, "Is that really a real snake?" I'm just like,
because
yeah,
you know the kids
like,
all be scared of it, bro. And it's like now now my son walking up with it, and they like, "Oh, can I touch it? Is that real?" And you know now I probably get maybe it's 30 kids right there, but there's one. If I could turn one of them into a snake keeper, I'll take it. You know what I'm
saying? Hey.
I'm
not
even getting over that phobia, brother.
So I gotta ask you this question too, man. But beyond cages, let's get into feeding, man.
Let's do it.
Because as I've come along, I realize that people feed differently. All chondros are not the same. Like, especially when you talk about size and what they can, the capacity of, of which they can eat. So I like hearing about people's feeding regimens. So let's hear yours.
So I feed everything under 3 years old. Actually, everything under 2 years old, I feed it once a week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feed it once a week, and only mice. Everything like from 2 to 3, I'm not as set in stone, so it's like anywhere from 10 days to 14 days. You know, it just depends on the snake, its overall composition. And then after 3 years old, it's every 2 weeks, and it's jumbo mice. But at that point, a jumbo mouse is such a small prey item for a 3-year-old. You're talking about like 1,000-gram chondro eating something that's like 30 to 50 grams at most, you know? So it's a pretty good staple, you know? Like even the most well-fed snake will lean itself out, I would say, on that diet.
Okay.
So
especially and if you got like chunky females, if you go through once you go through that first breeding season with them, they usually lean their stuff out too.
Yeah, I've heard that. Worrell used to say that a lot. And you know, I think me primarily, I feed mice. I occasionally give a rat to breeder females. I do. Like I'd never shy away from that. Like if they'll take it, I'll give it. You know, and believe me, they'll all take it. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like when I first got started, there was like a lot of hate towards rats, and I was one of the few keepers that never really like bought into that stigma. I very vocally said like I would feed a breeder female rat. So I guess people tend to think that I feed like primarily rats, but that's not the case. I'm almost all mice. So
I mean, I think that a lot of people do it differently, man. I think that's what helps us all learn. Because in the pitch, you know, you might have to reach out to somebody, be like, "Hey, man, how are you doing this?" But you got 1,000-gram 3-year-old females, man. That's
even before
that's
2 years old.
Yeah,
even before I lean them out pretty early. Like, I mean, they grow pretty big, pretty fast if you allow them. I mean, I don't like keeping an animal that's meant to be big from not getting there. I'll tell you that much for certain. Like, I would rather stay home on a Friday night than go out, you know, if it means like sticking to a schedule. Nobody needs to be that crazy. Let me just put it like that. But that's my preference. You know what I mean? Like, however, with that being said, I also don't like fat snakes. Like, I just they don't breed well. If they're gonna lay eggs, it's not gonna be good quality. So yeah, you can lean them out after they give a clutch, but man, that clutch is not gonna be good. You might even get let's say like a large amount of eggs, you know, like, and let it be like 20 to 30 or something, but the quality of those eggs is nowhere near as good as, let's say, like a medium-sized female that gives eggs, you know, and let's say might end up like depleted afterwards. It's just what I've noticed, because I actually have bred from females that I personally have felt were larger, you know, like that I might have gone a little bit more heavy with the cycling. And I didn't like the results the same way I did with the ones that were a little bit leaner. It's just, it was my preference. And, you know, like, because
So describe the quality of the eggs that you're talking about, like the lesser quality. What are you seeing in those eggs?
so that'll also have to do with the female. What I've noticed is some females, no matter how much you give them or don't give them, they're going to give you the same amount of the eggs. You know, like I have like Blue Jay, for example. Went heavy the first season and lighter the second. It was the same amount of eggs. Like it was all of that energy that she got from the food. She put it towards a thicker shell of the eggs. So the egg quality was superior. Like it was just dense. Like that, the candling those
the first
eggs,
time or the second time?
yeah, the second time it was the same thing. Like it was very dense, good quality eggs.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
But I mean, like the first time it was like thick. Like it was like, anyway, that's the one type of female. The other type that will give you more eggs, you'll notice that some of those eggs might not have been, you know, they almost look sluggish or are actually slugs. Like if they are a little bit larger set females, you know, like the ones that have been a little bit overfed or whatever, it will happen like that. They will not give you the best results. So all in all, honestly, it is this keeper's opinion that a golden medium. Once again, nothing too big, nothing too small, and if it's too small, it might not even give you eggs. I'll just tell you it like that. So it's not even worth going into a long description about that. For me, I guess snake size and their age they're intertwined, you know, so kind of correlate that to something, you know. If it's too small, it's just not ready. That's it. So we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, so also about that, man, we never asked you this, man. When your females lay, how long do you wait before you pull eggs and put them in the incubator?
My females lay how long? You know what? I get impatient, man. You know what? I get that twitch like a crackhead. The last clutch, dude, like hell, if I slept like more than 30 minutes or an hour that night, I was like up all night, back and forth. It never gets old. It's always like Christmas Day, and so the second they're done, I try pulling them out. One time I pulled it out too early. That was the first clutch of the year. I mean, she had an egg left in her. I had to soak it, you know, or when I was soaking her, then I noticed there's an egg floating at the top. It wasn't a good egg, but it was such a rookie mistake, you know, like I literally looked at myself in the mirror and said, what are you, like 10 years old? Like you couldn't have waited for it to beehive, you know? So for the newer keepers or newer breeders, wait for them to beehive if possible, and then pull it out.
Yeah.
Just don't say, oh, she looks done, and take her out. I've done that rookie mistake like 14 egg clutches in, and it happens to the best of us. I'm ashamed to say, but it does. So
yeah, you're not wrong. It's also one of those things, just like sometimes when you go put those eggs, and it's just like most of these eggs seem like they're all right, but it's just one of them just like, I probably shouldn't be touching this one.
Oh yeah.
It's just like it's still super
if you don't want no
soft.
kids too early, pull it out.
Yeah, man. That's where I had to go when I just stepped away. My daughter threw up in the bed. So, Garrick, you sit over here talking about you want to have a bunch of kids. You better think about it. You better not. If you want to have all these damn snakes, Garrick. You
know what? I want it all. I want it all, man. Just a big family would be nice, you know.
Hey, Travis chopped his balls off.
I didn't chop my balls off. I cut my balls.
I think that's one of the best gifts that God can give is, you know, a family. So, me personally, I think
it is.
It's been a couple years since you got spayed, right, Trav?
What? You say spade is what happens to females. I got neutered. Get it right.
My bad.
Oh, you actually got a vasectomy?
Yeah, I got a vasectomy, bro.
Oh, okay. I didn't understand what he was saying. I thought he was saying like you're like whiplashed or something. Like,
no, he gets whiplash. I got a vasectomy.
Hey, nah, they ain't touching me down there, Garrick. I'm leaving how I came in, brother.
It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard for him to get a vasectomy. His neck's all crooked from getting whiplash anyway.
Ain't no disconnecting going on down there, brother. You ain't disconnecting no tools.
I agree with Kino. I'm on the side of fertility. So
listen,
I'm touching my tools, brother.
Listen, when you start having them kids, man, everything you want to do, you're just like, damn, I gotta have all these damn kids.
Excuses for having a weak pullout game, but it's cool.
Bro, listen, no, bro. The first kid we tried, and then the second kid, I don't even know what I'll call that one. I think I just let it go, and I was just thinking it wouldn't happen. I was thinking it wouldn't happen because we had another kid so early, and I was just like, it's gonna be okay. She can't get pregnant that early. And like, yep, yes, she did. My kid's only 18 months apart.
That's not how the Doonies work, brother.
Yeah, no.
That's amazing, honestly. That's good. They can grow up together, you know?
Yeah, it's just them two. Just
pimp together.
He said pimp together? No, but up until then, I mean, shit, we had from 2011 to 2019, 8 years of no kids. 8 years of no kids. So,
wow. That's what you talking about with one woman, right?
With the same woman.
You ain't talking about, okay, no mind.
What are you talking about? We're not doing this. I don't know what the fuck you talking about.
Nothing.
You're not about to pull an Allen on me, bro.
You ain't talking about beforehand.
Beforehand? I never had no kids. I took 3 pregnancy tests and I took 3 paternity tests in the same year and won all 3.
I'm about to say, bro, you took a pregnancy test. That I don't think that's how that works.
Nah, bro. I had 3 in 2000. I had 3 girls say that they got pregnant by me, and none of them babies was mine. None of them. 3-peated, bro. 3-peated off the back. Yeah. What else we got, man?
Wow, on the pig.
Yeah, we gotta change the subject. All right, Garrick. So let's talk about future plans, bro. What exactly do you see going on with your collection in 5 years and then 10 years from now? And do you ever see yourself, retiring from keeping chondros and breeding them?
I mean, no, I don't. If I get to a certain age that I simply can't do it, honestly, I would just got to make sure that they go to people who are equally passionate, But again, you're talking about something like 50 years down the line or something, maybe more. Like, so as of now, like, no, I just can't see like a future without them. Like, all else aside, it's too exciting. You know what I mean? Like, it's a few years in, and it's even quite a bit of clutches in, and I still get so giddy every time they're breeding or those eggs are pippin or whatever the case is. Like, it's like Christmas Day, and I love it. They're all so unique and different, and the possibilities are endless, and I just can't see a future without it. Now, as far as what I'm going to be working on in the next 5 or 10 years, well, essentially the pairings that I'm doing now, like, these pairings that I'm doing now are only going to, like 5-10 years from now is when I'm going to really, I guess, reap the rewards, and start breeding from them, so that's kind of exciting. I already have, my plan, of course, I wanted to have multiple different bloodlines. For me, genetic diversity is like close to everything, like at that end, of course, granted, you have your health, you have your color, but I love the idea of having worked on different bloodlines. That's such an early point in the hobby for me, an early point in, I guess, breeding, so that way later down the line I have room to to scheme, to mess around with, like I can pair this one from this group to this one from this group. That's essentially why I started working out on the wild caught to wild caught pairings, so that later down the line I can pair my bluer stuff to compatibly, I guess, and compatible and selectively kept back offspring from these pairings that I'm doing now, you know? So aside from the obvious like half sib to half sib and, you know, like cousin to cousin pairings, you know, that of course we all want to see, including me, I do already plan for what I'm going to breed it to outside of that, you know? Like I already have keepers in mind that years down the line, I'm like, okay, like I like the stuff that this dude's working on, you know, like I want to work on my line, but I already know like he's gonna stand on business. He's gonna hold his stuff down, and later in the future, that's gonna be a good combo, you know. Like I look at things like that. I pay attention to what people are working on, you know. It's I mean, things like that. I'm already working on like half sib to half sib pairings, you know, like I guess Phoenix to Gemini being one of them, though that didn't pan out the best. But that one egg in the incubator is still doing well.
Hey, it's still one.
Yeah,
one's better than zero.
Man, that thing, it looked infertile to me, but it's still doing well after a couple weeks, so I'm leaving it in there. I have a father-daughter pairing, Chronos to Angel, which is one of the first from the first clutch. Of course, a true blue female. I thought that's pretty amazing. And you know, I have these other up-and-coming, you know, pairings and stuff too, you know. I guess there's the Blue Jay clutches, which, again, though that was never part of my main focus, you know, like I'm sure people have already heard me talk about the story of how, you know, like Ed had actually asked me to breed her, you know. So I did, and the results were much better than anticipated, you know, and I already anticipated like some nice stuff, but now they're in the rotation too, is what I mean to say, you know, like eventually they'll get their time to shine, you know. And one of them's already blue, the other one's like mostly black with like blue and green. Like they're beautiful, like they're very unique snakes. And I guess the more it goes on, the more like unique that look becomes, and different animals with different shades get thrown into the mix. Like Olympia, for example, with her Arfac blood, like that's like blue, you know, it's beautiful. So it's interesting.
So
somebody
like, how you
asked
break
a
it
question
down
earlier about sib to sib pairings. Like, would you do full sib to sib pairings?
I would, only in like two conditions, dude, or three rather. One, they both need to be like solid from the time they were a baby to an adult, and they need to be a good size, like really good sizes naturally. Third, and probably just as all three reasons were important to me, and the third one was color, of course. Like if they're not both true blue snakes, if you're talking about like my bluer parents, I wouldn't do it, honestly. Like it's not worth it. Like because at the same time you're magnifying other colors in there. You're magnifying, if let's say you're gonna breed a green snake and a brother sister, you're going to magnify that green. You know what I mean? You can't just wait for a female to go hormonal blue and then say like, okay, like, you know, like they were both blue. It doesn't work like that. You know, like if she was a genetic blue and he was a genetic blue, I would pair them in a sib to sib just to give it a shot. At least, I mean, that's what I did once. I don't have any immediate plans to do another sib to sib. I'll be honest. Like it was very fun, but if you have other options, I would recommend you go for other options. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. It's just
so
for me more enticing to add.
So how you
something.
breaking down your how you just broke down like the chrono stuff and especially like your siren stuff, because I think siren would be like a locality island that would be considered an anomaly. We could agree on that.
Siren is a very high-end animal from her clutch, which was a nice clutch, but she is not like by any means in that blue arena. You know what I mean? Like that true arena. She is a highly compatible animal, if you will, because has a lot of blue to her. So even if I would suspect that if I bred Siren to another like nice animal, it would produce very nice offspring. Some of which could be a couple could be high blue, but that's not the same. I think the way I see it, the caliber of true blue is so much higher than that of like a compatible or a high.
But I guess what I was trying to say is I kind of get that part of it. You know that. Especially what you're doing with Kronos and having him be like the base and Blue Moon and stuff. Yeah. I guess where I guess maybe the whispers have come from, people, and we've talked about this, how I guess people have maybe thought that me and you disagree is, I guess, and I, like I said, I understand that part, because with that, you trying to create something maybe 10, 15, 20 years down the line that you can repeat, and people can say, basically spot and say that. Basically kind of what I'm doing with the Cyclops. So I get that part of it. But like, how would you explain it to where, like, say you doing like a locality cross where it's like, for example, yo, I'm in the BX, and say, how would you justify the price on those with they don't got that same mindset that like your mainline stuff do?
Well,
But
for starters,
they'll still be in that same bracket as your main stuff.
So for starters, they go for a lot less typically than my Highland stuff. That's like kept. It's blue to blue. I mean, just visually straight off the bat, blue to blue is more expensive than blue to something else.
Right.
So there's that. Two, I guess for me, the Womaniacs had a completely different goal. I have a completely different goal with the Womaniacs. I wanted to get that enormous, monstrous size that I see in both of them. Blue Moon,
Okay.
and aside from other things, of course, is keep it like passing on the genetics of Blue Moon, because all those animals are 50% Blue Moon. Which for me means something, because I have other animals that also have his bloodlines. Like if I later in the future decide to breed back something to that, there is a common ancestor there in the very first, the very previous generation right there.
You got a common denominator right there. Yeah.
And that's where you're going to magnify. So, that, and of course, Womana and Biox were their magnifiers. They Biox for not really blue color. Everything else, they're very good at magnifying, be it black, be it high yellow, be it high white. Like they're very good for that. It's even in the most basic pairings. And again, granted, I don't think by any means I would call this basic, but I'm saying like they're good at magnifiers for things like that. And Womanas are typically good magnifiers from what I've seen for everything, be it high yellow, be it high black. We've all seen the crazy stuff that Womana outcrosses have produced. Like when bred to a blue animal, it produced Chronos. It produced all those blue Womana Sarongs.
Yeah, you got Irby with Sophia. Yep.
There's the sickness is half Womana. Insanity was a Womaniac. Like Insanity being one of the chief influencers behind that pairing. Like the genetics are there, and on top of it all, it's red to red. Like more than likely red dominant male too, and the female herself is a monster. Mind you, when I got her, Ivy, she wasn't in good shape. She was undersized, and she grew like from 400 grams to 1,500 grams without even so much as a single scale bending. Like it was just even with spine definition, went straight towards size. First clue was, okay, this thing is, as far as you said, genetic anomaly. I don't know if I'd call her that, but she definitely has that gene that I need, like that I want, that everyone wants, that size gene that, that's virility, that's life, like the size, the vigor, how amazing the clutch, like the performed, like fertility wise. Blue Moon himself is like 900 grams, like he's a big ass male, he's not a small one, so I guess everything was near perfect. It was supposed to be the perfect outcross animal, so that if, let's say, anyone who has a goal in mind, be it high yellow, be it high black or whatever, if
they could use that as the elixir, if you will.
Yeah, you can toss it into nearly any situation, kind of like how the barn did with watermelon. Like they tossed it in for their blue line pairings or calico pairings, and it works, because those are two magnifiers that you have there. And I guess I wanted something similar in my collection, like that magnifier, that versatile animal.
So with that Biak, have you seen that magnification passed down to the offspring that you hope that you will see?
So I've seen high black come up oftentimes in a lot of chondros that hit OCC. Some of which actually kept it in the recent pairing, the second one. The first one, I got a lot of high yellows, and one of which was very, very high yellow. That one belongs to Steve from Anubis Reptiles. He's been on the show.
We had him on. Yeah.
Shout out Steve.
In fact, yeah, he even branched out and bred that to another high yellow with a very similar phenotype, and got some out of this world like looking animals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so essentially, he plugged in an animal from a blue snake into a high yellow pairing, the way that pairing was intended to be that versatile, and got the results that he's looking for. You know what I mean? So that was kind of the goal behind it. Like my girl, for example, I gifted her a couple of Womaniacs. Those took a different turn. For example, you would never be able to distinguish them from an average, like a red monoquari. Like they have like just straight blue triangles, blue patterning all throughout, you know, like a blue head. Like they're very pretty animals. You might not even notice that they're a cross. You know what I mean? Like you might think it's just a very nice high-end monoquari, you know, like, so it was a versatile pairing, you know, like it wasn't for any one reason. It was for multiple reasons it did that. And I think the price reflected that it wasn't a blue to blue pairing, you know, like the price, it was half the price that essentially my blue to blue pairings are. So
okay. Before, listen, I don't want to lose. I don't want to let anybody lose a chance to ask a question. And we didn't talk about babies, but you know we talked about a lot of other stuff. So this is Lucid Arboreal's questions. How does your regimen look like for establishing neos, and how does he go about turning around the tricky ones who flee or just don't want to take a prey item?
Let me see. How does this regimen look like for establishing?
I'll put it back up.
Yeah. So how does he go about turning the tricky ones? Okay. So that one I actually did change a little bit from the very first time I got started. The very first clutch that I had a lot that skipped their first shed. That made things very difficult for me. And then the second clutch, I still felt like I wasn't dialed in. I feel like a lot of it really comes from the keeper. Half the time that people struggle, it's not from the animal. You know, it's the keeper genuinely has a very big impact, you know, and you might not even know what it is you're doing wrong, but you might be doing something wrong if you're not having, like, let's say, if these animals that are like visually healthy animals are you know struggling, you might be the reason, you know, like, again, I'm not singling anybody out, sorry, I just want to clarify.
Well, it couldn't even be it couldn't even be you it could be,
yeah,
you could set that damn animal up exactly how we told you, but it could just be simple thing as region in the country, your humidity, what sounds going on, and it could be this too.
Exactly. I just
simply that animal acclimating to you. There's new surroundings.
I generalize that though. I generalize that to say, like, okay, that's like a keeper error. Let's say if it's your
no, I know what you're saying.
Yeah,
we
you know what
page with that.
Yeah. So even a simple move could spark them off, but establishing neos, dude, like I make sure they're super wet before their first shed, you know, the same way as everyone. Afterwards, I treat them just like after their first shed, just like any other snake. I don't have any quarrel with feeding prior to the first shed, though I prefer feeding after. It's just after some time goes, when you start having a lot of babies, like it becomes very difficult to do like, okay, like today I'm going to try like these snakes, tomorrow these snakes, you know, you just want to hit them all at one hit, you know? And that's typically the past few years, like it's been like that, you know, like I want to say, I think after my third clutch, I don't think I really had like a difficult eater like that. I had one or two. I gave those away for free. That was 4 years ago. I just wasn't having it. I'm like, I produce enough, you know, like I produce enough and solid stuff. Like if it's going to be difficult on me, take it. You know what I mean? I don't care what it looks like. It's just not worth it for me. Like, again, and when I say difficult, it's not the same thing as, oh, it's a snake not eating, because a snake not eating might not be a difficult snake. It might just be something, again, that I'm doing wrong. You know, like maybe it's my cologne, or, you know what I mean? Maybe it's the time of day that it's just that not vibing with me. You know, like it might want to go at nighttime. Once I've established that it's not any of those things that I'm doing wrong, then it's a gift. You know, but that hasn't happened in, I want to say, like 3 or 4 years, dude. Like, it's all the clutches have been pretty easy. I don't know. I won't take the full credit for that. The snakes are honestly pretty glorious snakes. You know, they do everything the way they're supposed to. And I guess my simple method works for me. You know, I feed them with chick fuzz if they're not going to eat it regularly after the first meal. Sometimes I might preemptively give them chick fuzz, you know, for their first meal, but typically it's that. It's all pinkies, you know, nothing else. Yeah, once a week. And then with a size bump, once they have already like shown me that prey item's no longer showing them a bump. Like, you know, once it's already at, you know, pretty straightforward stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it's nothing I'm doing that's revolutionary here. It's just more so, I guess, I'm not spending a lot of time experimenting with like a lot of different ways when I'm already dialed in to my way and it's working for me. You know what I mean? If you already don't fix something that's not broken, you know, you had good success with the way you're doing it, stick to it. You know,
I'm with it. I'm the same way, Gary. I ain't no big experimenter, man.
Yeah. If you're having
only thing I'm probably change up is I'm probably gonna do some cleaning.
I mean,
but other than that, I ain't doing nothing drastic over there, man.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like, but the same goes for, I guess, mistakes. You know, like if you're seeing mistakes, you know, like you'd be crazy to keep repeating the same thing. You know, like don't repeat the same mistake. Yeah. So that's kind of my regimen for that. And I want to briefly answer. I think I saw CJ asked, do you think the bigger the female, the bigger the clutch yield? No, not necessarily. It could be though. My feeding method doesn't change too much from, let's say, the 1,100 to 1,500 gram female, though I know it could. If I feed more, let's say, and the female has the ability to lay more eggs because of it, I know, let's say it could, but I usually just keep the same kind of feeding methods. So I don't typically see like some crazy high number or a crazy low number for that matter. It's been like 19 to 24 or something like that. That's my range, 19 to 24.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've come to the end. It's almost 11, but we want to give you a chance to say anything that you didn't get a chance to say earlier, though.
Yeah, man. You know, it's all love. I want to say it's really all love with this. Like, you know, it's don't waste, to the people out there, don't waste your time doing something if you don't yourself love what it is you're doing. Just I can't emphasize that enough, because then you will have an expiration date on the hobby. You will have that. You know, if you keep doing the things that really genuinely get you excited, you're in it for the long haul. You know, like if it means doing something that other people might not approve of, you know, if it means it's whatever, do it. Honestly, do it. If it's gonna make you happy, it's gonna get you out of bed. That's how you make it, like, in long run, and that's how I guess you continue. So that's my advice. So
I mean, that's good advice. I think that's sound advice. Also, man, remember, these are your snakes. As long as you're taking care of them and making sure they're healthy, do what you want to do with your own snakes.
That's another thing too, man.
Something goes
get
wrong
caught up
with it, nobody's gonna fix it for you anyway.
People be trying to keep up with the Jones, like the old people would say. Sometimes, you know, you gotta, like you said, man, you gotta find what you like, man, and get with it. Find somebody who got it and wait on them.
Exactly.
All right, I think that's it for us, man. This has actually been a great show, Garrick. I think you gave the people what they came for, and I'm pretty sure people really gonna enjoy watching this one.
Garrick came through jumping off crown warrior bags. That's what I'm talking about, baby.
Yeah, Garrick, a lot of stuff that you said about blue, we haven't really had these conversations before, and I know that everybody has their own opinions of it, but it's good hearing your perspective.
Yeah, hearing that out your mouth, you know, talk about your lines and should explain it. So
Thank you.
Good perspective, man.
Thank you. Appreciate
Yeah,
that.
I got some more questions for you too. But hopefully you come back.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. But for tonight, that's been us for the Chondro Bar Room. We appreciate our very special guest, Garrick, for
Hey,
coming through.
shout out
Delic
to
asked, "Are you
shout out
coming to
to
build?"
Cali. Shout out to
Yeah,
Cali,
shout out to
man.
Cali.
Shout out to Callie. She asked if I'm going. I'm going. I might not leave if I go though. I might
Why?
just stay there.
Are you gonna go to the rodeo again? Did you go to? Did you
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the rodeo. Yeah.
I remember when I talked to you, just like I'm going to the rodeo. I was just like, oh well, that okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna bull ride again this year too, and I'm not gonna fall off. So mark
Did
my
you
words.
bull ride?
I
you
did.
ride a
Of
bull?
course. You can't go to Texas and not like just be a tourist. You know, like if you're going there for the first time, you can't do that. You have to enjoy it. You know.
Travis, you bull ride too?
I don't.
Why not?
Yeah, Travis, you'll show me the best ones.
Listen, man, I ain't got no interest in riding no bull. I've seen bulls enough. Like I can drive down all the way down the main road and see, ranches and big ass bulls and
I'll pay to
cows.
see you ride a bull, Travis. I ain't gonna lie.
I told you about how I got chased by a bull a few months ago while I was hunting.
There's no way you outran a bull.
I did. So I told Keno about it. So this is what happened is so this plot of land that we go hunt on, they have open ranching, right? So they got cattle all over the fucking place. So this was the last day we were out there, and I was throwing more corn to see if we could get some more hogs to come, but there were no hogs because it was dry as fuck. So there's no hogs gonna be there. So when I go down the little cut, I look to the left of me and I see a big ass bull. The bull had been watching me throw corn. That's what was happening. The bull had been watching me throw corn. And then I turned to the right of me and a fucking cow popped his head out of the fucking thicket. And it was like that scene in Jurassic Park where that fucking dinosaur popped out of the bush and scared the shit out of him. I threw the corn. They didn't want me. They wanted the corn. I just ran off. I left in the fucking corn, bro. As soon as that bull started coming towards me, I was like, fuck that. He can have his fucking corn. So, that's how I got chased off.
I wish he would have chased you down, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
You want me to get gored by a big ass bull?
You know, only if someone was videoing.
Nah,
well, that's
bro,
the
you
thing.
don't get gored. You just get trampled a little bit.
No, that's the thing is my father-in-law was sitting up on the hill, so he was like 70 yards from me at the feeder. So he didn't see the bull at first. He saw the bull running towards me, but he saw me come out the back end of the thicket. He was like, I didn't know that bull was over there until I started seeing the move. I was like, neither the fuck did I. But yeah, that's how I got chased off by a bull.
I ain't gonna lie.
You don't want your father-in-law to see that.
I don't give a fuck. I ain't getting fucking trampled by no fucking bull for a big ass bag of corn. My rifle was sitting up by the feeder anyway. So what the fuck was I gonna do to the bull?
That's true. That's true.
What you do is if it charges you just put the little red thing up.
I ain't had no fucking red thing. I had a big ass bag of deer corn. That's what I had.
Oh man.
You lasso it with the bag then.
So in the middle of me running, you think I'm gonna turn this bag into a fucking lasso?
I just want to see like video of you in like physical interaction with the bull. See what happens.
I would feel for that too. Man, they were passing around my video of bull riding at Bill's. You remember that? Or the day after.
Oh, so yeah, I was there the day after, and I was just like,
if I get a video of you, man, that shit's going viral. Bro.
Are you talking about a video of me riding a bull or a video of me getting chased by a bull?
All of it, honestly.
But if you ride a bull, Travis, it gotta be a real one. I don't want no like no mechanical bull.
Nah, I rode a mechanical bull before.
I don't care about that, brother. I leave that for the ladies. I want to see you on like a real bull. Is that me? Nah. Yeah, I want to see you on a real bull too, brother. I want to see you bucking, like doing that for the trying to do the 8 second thing.
Nah,
I'm gonna be
I'm not
second
letting
in
y'all.
line right behind Travis.
Nah, y'all not about to give you out here looking crazy. And I'm not giving Chris Rice no material, bro. I already see you. I already see you here, Chris.
Oh,
We're not giving you no material, bro. Listen,
If
cut
I go
it
down
out.
there this September, bro, you got to ride a bull for me.
You got to ride a bull.
I'll ride the bull, but you got to ride it first.
oh man,
Deal.
that's. I'll wait to see that.
I
But
ride
you
it.
gotta
And
make
you
sure
ride.
I got the bulletproof vest on and all that, because I ain't trying to break nothing, bro.
You gonna wear your catcher's helmet or some shit?
Oh
I
my
just ain't. Well, I put a football helmet on. I ain't trying to get hurt though. But I got to get you first because I want to be able to get you on video and send that back to Chris.
You ain't shit. That's all I gotta say about you. Is you ain't shit. This has been a good time, man. We appreciate you, Garrick, for coming through. I guess we having
So
a bull
good.
ride expedition in Dallas in September. But yeah,
And we
man,
have a midget expedition too, a little person expedition.
we're not doing that. We are not doing that. But thank everybody for coming out, man.
Shout out to the little people at the bar room.
Shout out to Garrick.
Shout out to Garrick for pulling up on us.
Thank you guys.
But that's been it for the Chondro Bar Room, man. Y'all have a good night.
Take care, man.
See y'all on the next one. Peace.